Hey everybody, today's episode will be entitled Observations from Disneyland. So, over the course of the weekend, it's fantastic. Family and I snuck away, did a quick trip down to Disneyland, just a quick little family vacation. It was wonderful. But it was interesting because of all just the normal observations you get to have of society when you're around a very large group of people. It's always interesting to me anyway. Well, first of all, I don't know if I could categorize it as a good or bad decision. You know, we've got 3 kids. To travel with a 16-week-old baby was a special experience. Let's just say that. She did great, but it was a special experience. Anyway, so we went down to Disneyland, and what I find interesting about it, happiest place on earth, right? AKA most expensive place on earth. Holy cow, that Mickey Mouse, that rodent reaches his little claw into your wallet and just does not let go. But that's another story. Most of us, I'm going to make the bold assumption, are crazy CrossFitters, which is a good thing. You know, there's good crazy and bad crazy. But, you know, we use that word in a joking manner, but we're crazy about how we eat. We're crazy about how we move. We're crazy about just doing what we need to do to live a wonderful life, be fit, make good food choices, all that stuff. And when you're immersed in that every single day of your life, while it's wonderful, right? Because if you're surrounded with people making good decisions, hopefully those good decisions rub off. If you're surrounded by people making bad decisions, there's a choice those bad decisions will rub off. So in general, it's really good to be surrounded by crazy CrossFitters because they generally help keep you on a good path of long-term health and fitness. However, what can be potentially negative or misleading, maybe negative's not the right word, is if you're just surrounded by these wonderful, crazy CrossFitters all the time, it may give you a warped perspective of what normal is, a warped perspective of reality or a skewed perspective, and that might not be the best thing if it starts to make you feel a little bit bad about where you are, because if maybe you're surrounded by all these beasts all the time, they're just, shredded 28-pack abdominals and never have had a bit of processed food in their mouth for the last 4 years, and they're just insane. They're just mistake-free all the time, and you're kind of a normal person. You got normal stuff going on. You eat good most of the time. You slip every now and then. You hit most of the workouts. Every now and then life gets in the way. You miss a workout, and you look at your friends that are just like these dedicated ninjas of perfection all the time. You're like, wow, I'm just messing up. I'm so far behind the power curve. Man, I'm just not fit, and my numbers aren't good. And so potentially, it could be that these crazy CrossFitters are giving you a self-image that is not accurate. And so for me, it's always interesting, since being around crazy CrossFitters is my entire existence, to go out into society again and to see a broad swath of people and suddenly realize, oh, as a cohort, as a whole, even what you would consider a mediocre CrossFitter, even if you would consider yourself not a great CrossFitter, a below average CrossFitter, a totally unremarkable CrossFitter, from what I've seen with my eyes anyway, compared to what society appears to be, you are incredible. You are at the pinnacle of fitness. You are Conan the Barbarian. I mean, you're just out of control. Even if you are a quote-unquote below average CrossFitter, most of the people that I was around for the last couple of days would look at you and be like, wow, are you like a professional fitness model? What's going on? And you'd be like, me? You'd be like, I'm the bottom of the barrel of my friends. You get me? And this, gotta say this in 2021, heaven forbid I hurt somebody's feelings. This isn't a value judgment of anybody that I saw down at Disneyland. I'm not saying anyone is a bad person. I am simply taking in the data that I observed with my eyes and making what I feel to be relatively accurate statements based upon where I see society heading. I mean, and it's a sad state of affairs, quite frankly. And for anyone who is into long-term health and fitness or CrossFit or whatever it happens to be, owns a gym, I mean, the future should be bright. From what I can see, there's the overwhelming majority of the population is desperately in need of walking into an affiliate and getting on a better path. The amount of mobility devices, I guess that's what you would call them, motorized scooters and things like that, that I saw was crazy. Crazy how many people need them. And not because they had a broken leg. I didn't see a lot of casts on legs of these people on mobility devices. It was because either their weight had gotten tremendously out of control. I mean, there was just a very obvious and prolific amount of chronic disease, ailment, lack of functional capacity, lack of mobility, that was sad. I mean, sad and scary. Honestly, I don't know what else to say. And people that are in desperate need of help. So, which is why hopefully all of us, with a good open attitude, ideally we'll have the opportunity to help some of these folks, get on a better path. Because from what I saw, the need is substantial and huge. So, but all of that linking back to, you can have a very jaded perspective of just how well you're doing. Even on days that you probably don't feel like you're doing well, you're probably crushing it. It's super easy when you're surrounded by crazy CrossFitters all the time that, I don't know, you're deadlifting with your buddy and, you work up to a 350-pound deadlift and your buddy Johnny on the other platform, well, he's got a 450-pound deadlift. And all of a sudden, you just feel deflated about your 350-pound deadlift because there's Johnny, old Johnny, with his 450-pound deadlift, 100 pounds more than you. And all of a sudden, you're like, ugh, suck at deadlifting. So weak, such a terrible deadlifter. I need to deadlift more. My deadlift's really holding me back. It's just, everything in my life would just be better if I had a bigger deadlift. I'm here to tell you again, you're just comparing yourself to Johnny on the other platform. Go ahead, take yourself a trip to Disneyland, and I'll tell you what, you'll feel way better about your 350-pound deadlift. Way better. You are amazing. The fact that you're deadlifting, I don't even care what's on the bar, quite frankly. I don't care if it's 250 or 150. I don't even care. The fact that you're deadlifting puts you in the right group. The fact that you're squatting, I don't even care what you squat. Couldn't care less, quite frankly. I just care that you are squatting. You're crushing it. The fact that you're doing a mixed modality, metabolic conditioning workout, even if you have to scale it, I couldn't care less. The fact that you're doing it, fantastic, crushing, winning at life. You have some good food choices and some bad food choices. Whoop-de-doo. The fact that you're actually paying attention to what you're eating and trying, honestly, actually trying to make more good decisions than bad decisions. Fantastic. You're doing so great. But again, if you happen to hang out with, old perfection athlete that never has a bad meal and is a perfect mover and, hey, just set another PR and whatever it happens to be, you might look at that and suddenly feel like you're not doing enough or whatnot. I'm here to tell you it's not the case. You're good to go. So give yourself a bit of grace, realize that you are doing fantastic, and keep doing what you're doing. We'll always try to do a little bit better, for sure, but cut yourself some slack. Give yourself some credit. I've got a feeling you're doing far better than you realize. And I looked up on Beyond the Whiteboard before this, just for craps and giggles, because I'm, again, a crazy CrossFitter, just like everybody else. This is all I do, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I eat, sleep, and breathe. That I'm always thinking about workouts and programming, how the body moves. And so even when I was on a family vacation, I know I should probably be able to disconnect, but that's not one of my strong suits. I, couldn't help but look around at people out of just sheer curiosity and say, I wonder how many people could do Fran. If we had a pull-up bar and a barbell out here, just do Fran. I don't care if it takes you 4 hours. Just actually do 21, 15, 9 thrusters and pulls. Break it up however much you need to break it up. Like I said, I don't care if it takes you 4 hours, but with a 95 or 65 pound barbell, I wonder how many people, just this general population, could get into a front rack position, actually have the flexibility and technique to, pass below parallel, get darn near 100 pounds overhead, then got to grab a pull-up bar, get your chin over the pull-up bar. You got to move your own body weight, and 45 reps of each one of those things. I wonder if that just said, hey, we'll give you all day to do it. All day. I truly believe that a large segment of society that I saw couldn't do that if we offered them $5 million. And again, this is not a value judgment. I'm not saying anyone's a bad person. It's an observation. And leading back to my point of maybe your Fran time isn't where you want it to be. The mere fact that you can do Fran, that you can do what comes out to be 45 thrusters and 45 pull-ups. Again, I don't even care about your time. The fact that you can do that is incredible. And I feel that you should give yourself more credit for that. Again, I looked up on Beyond the Whiteboard. If you have like one of the best Frans in the whole world, you're in the 90th percentile, okay? 90th percentile, meaning you're in the top 10% of Fran times. That's what that means. That is a 3 minute and 7 second or better for men, 4 minutes flat or better for women. You're in the top 10%. So most people are not in the top 10%, right? Well, I looked at what was the bottom metric of all submitted scores in Beyond the Whiteboard for Fran. And the bottom metric that you can look up is the 20th percentile. So what the 20th percentile means is 80% of the people who did the workout did it faster than you if you're in the 20th percentile. So if you're in the, quote unquote, the bottom 20%, it might be easy to feel like, I'm in the bottom 20% on Fran. My fitness is no good. I'm no good. I'm not working hard enough. Blah, blah, blah. Those are all lies. So that bottom 20% that I looked up on Beyond the Whiteboard would be a 7 minute, 55 second Fran for men and an 8 minute and 43 second Fran for women. I will go back to my previous statement and say, okay, that maybe happens to be the cohort that you fall into based upon all of the crazy CrossFitters that log scores on Beyond the Whiteboard. So you're not comparing yourself to regular society. You're comparing yourself to these people that eat, sleep, and breathe fitness and work on and post notes. So you're in the bottom 20% of a fantastically fit cohort of people that most people would kill to be in the bottom 20% of that. And like I said, based upon what I've seen with my eyes, I think the overwhelming majority of people walking this planet could not do Fran in 7 minutes and 55 seconds for men or 8 minutes and 43 seconds for women. Not by a long shot. So again, even if you're like, I'm not doing so well, I think you're doing fantastic, honestly. And we could play this game with your back squat, your mile time, whatever it happens to be. So most CrossFitters, trying to live that 80-20 life, 80% of the time, making good decisions, 20% of the time, you slip up, you have mistakes. That 80-20 is very sustainable for a lot of people. I think it's a great place to be, and it delivers incredible fitness. Sadly, I think the inverse is true for a lot of society, which is why America, I don't want to speak for the whole world, but my home country here of America, is such a sick, unhealthy population of people in desperate need of some help, quite frankly. I don't think most people are living an 80-20 life where 80% of the time good decisions are happening and 20% of the time you're slipping. I think it's actually most people are doing 80% of the time making relatively poor food choices and not moving their body, and only about 20% of the time moving their body and making good food choices. So again, all of this just hopefully my recent trip to Disneyland just helped recenter some perspective again, and some perspective as to how well I think most of us are doing. And I'll give you some I'll give you some tips as well. The goal, hey, if you want to be a competitor, fantastic, rock on, be a competitor. But for most of us, the goal is to live a really high quality life, a pain-free, wonderful life where you have a lot of free time because you don't have to spend all day in the gym. Long-term health and fitness for as many years into your life, that is the goal. And we can do that. One workout a day, good decisions, scaling as needed, get the ego out of there, surround yourself with a great community of people that help support you and drive you forward towards your goals. PRing every day isn't realistic. It's also not the goal, quite frankly. When you get a PR, celebrate it. It's fantastic. PRs are awesome, but realize that you walk into the gym to train your body to do what makes sense that day based upon what you needed to do the day before. So, based upon what you needed to do the day before, you might need to go below parallel and do some pull-ups, something like Fran. If you PR, great, but if not, you did on that day what your body needed to have happen based upon your previous training. That's the point of why we're working out, to make sure we're hitting all the marks that we need to hit. And when the PRs come, you high-five your buddy, and life's great. And to also work out in a way that is sustainable and intelligent, so that when I talk with you 5 or 10 years from now, you're still working out. And you didn't try to do too much too soon, chase something at too quick of a timeline. Getting back to the story we had earlier where you pull 350 pounds in your deadlift, you look at Johnny, he's got the 450-pound deadlift, you suddenly feel bad, and you suddenly start doing some, unrealistic deadlifting stuff all the time, you tweak your back, and now you don't train for 12 weeks. That's, a simple thing like that takes you out of training for 12 weeks is so terrible. It would have been so better to just be patient, don't be greedy, do smart training, and still be carrying on for those 12 weeks. So again, smart decisions go a long way. I will say here are some ways when I was down there with the family that I tried to eat well. The mouse, Disney, they make it challenging. It's possible, but there's delicious food everywhere. So the mouse makes it challenging, but it's possible. Everywhere you go, there's a churro stand. There's a churro stand every 50 feet. I swear to you. They do sell turkey legs at Disney, which are delicious, and they're just like they sound. They're just a big hunk of meat. Fantastic. It's really hard to find the stands at Disney that sell the turkey legs. You can find them, but they're sparse. You can't walk 5 feet without tripping over a churro. So we know, as smart as Disney is, especially with revenue and economics, they know what people are swiping their credit cards on. So clearly, there's a lot more credit cards being swiped at churro stands than turkey leg stands. And so it makes fiscal sense for them to put a churro stand everywhere you look. And it's tougher, but still possible to find the turkey leg stands. Hey, it is what it is. Don't get me wrong. Those churros are amazing. Perfectly fried or cooked, cinnamony and delicious. But it's very easy to make some poor decisions there. Generally what I would do on this trip for breakfast, I would go to Starbucks. And in Starbucks, and I haven't looked up the nutritional information, so my apologies, they could be filled with all kinds of death chemicals. I will admit that I didn't do that. But I'll go to Starbucks, and you can get egg bites at Starbucks. And I would get 2 orders of egg bites, so a total of 4, these little like individual egg things. So I get 2 orders of egg bites, which I think is probably roughly about 4 eggs, 4 scrambled eggs. Then I would grab a banana and a cup of coffee. So 2 orders of egg bites, 1 banana, cup of coffee. Not bad, all things considered, for a breakfast at Disneyland, right? And anywhere there's a Starbucks, you can probably find that in an airport or whatever it happens to be. For lunch, I would seek out the turkey leg. And it was great, it was fantastic. It's huge, actually, it's enough for 2 people. But I would seek out the turkey leg. There's, of course, pizza and churros everywhere that you look, and those are very easy to find. Also, corn dogs everywhere that you look. Again, I'm sure amazing, but, I try to stay away from that. And then dinner, you could find something for dinner. There was chicken skewers. I don't fear a cheeseburger. I would go get a cheeseburger. I would eat the bun. I just personally wouldn't eat the fries. That keeps me on track for my metabolism and all that stuff. So there are, but if you didn't want to, you wouldn't have to eat the bun. You could get it lettuce wrapped or something. So again, there are choices that you can make out there that are decent. It's just tough because even as you're looking at the menu and you see that there are chicken skewers on the menu, well, your brain might go, well, there's a logical, healthy choice. And then what happens? The aroma of the churros enters your nose, and all of a sudden, the chicken skewers don't sound quite as good. And you want to get just churros and ice cream or something like that. I will say for treats, I did have a chocolate chip cookie each day. Now that sounds like, not really a cheat, right? Now keep in mind, I bet a chocolate chip cookie, if you went back and looked at what the average size of a chocolate chip cookie in maybe like 1955 was, the average serving, one cookie, and what one chocolate chip cookie is in 2021, one chocolate chip cookie that they make at Disney weighs, I would say, about a half a pound and is probably the equivalent to 6 chocolate chip cookies. It is, potentially a meal. It's hefty, it's robust. I had one of those on Saturday, and it was so good that I had another one on Sunday. So that was kind of my cheat for the week. No regrets. Hey, I was at Disney. But other than that, made some decent choices, and life was good. But again, the point of this is, just realize you are probably doing far better than you think that you are. Stay the course. Make good decisions. Pursue long-term health and fitness. Do smart things so that you stay pain and injury free. Get that ego out of the way. Surround yourself with good people, and life will be fantastic. And realize that 80-20 is a great, sustainable place to be. It's fantastic. And if you do surround yourself with those crazy people that are wonderful people, but they never make mistakes and they haven't had a cheat meal in 2 years, don't let them rain on your parade, and realize how much you are actually crushing it. So that's it. Hope that helps. If anybody goes down there and sees the mouse, maybe those nutrition things will help you out a little bit. And go ahead and post in the comments if while you're traveling, do you have a different easy, meal that you get? And if you did go to Disney and you had a churro, don't lie. Did you just have one, or did you have multiple churros? I won't hold it against you. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk later.